listeners, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Skylight Books podcast series. You're in for another Better Than the Movie, in which three booksellers get together with a talented guest to discuss movie adaptations of books. Today, our talented guest is Jeopardy champion Buzzy Cohen.
Hey,
returning guest.
He
was here for the swimmer episode, and there was such a clamor, such a outcry for more Buzzy that
was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, amongst the three of us, there was
It's like first I'm hearing of it.
We'll see how this one goes. This could be like a Kansas City Chiefs situation.
Could be.
Ooh. Too much in a row. Too much of a good thing.
Exactly.
Except, well, yeah. Well, are you not a Chiefs? Are you a Chiefs fan?
Oh, here we
Sorry,
go.
You know what?
Get into it.
Here we go.
I didn't want to do this. I was kind of saying like teasing a three-peat kind of situation.
Here we go.
Right. Yeah.
That was all I wanted to say, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
I know how broad your
evaded
listenership
the
is.
question beautifully.
That's correct.
And we guess, as a 49ers fan, I just have no choice but to. We'll settle this in the parking lot later.
Well, I'm a Giants fan.
Oh, okay, then we're fine. We're cool.
Okay.
Although we have our issues as well. So I'll be okay. Never mind. We'll be okay. 2011. We could have won in 2011.
Anyhow, this is the kind of gold you get.
Kyle Williams. He doesn't fumble that in overtime. We win that NFC Championship game. Eli doesn't have a second ring. He's probably not a Hall of Famer. Anyways,
cannot help himself.
We'll start talking about
All right.
sci-fi or whatever.
Is this what they mean when they say speak in tongues?
So the person who's talking a lot right now, that's Tyler Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm your co-host, Justin Remer.
I'm Allan Traylor.
I'm Tyler Austin.
Yeah.
I had a mini Coke before I got here.
Oh, that explains
90
it,
calories and a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good.
Good to know. Good to know.
Good ad placement.
And today we are discussing Philip K. Dick's short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, and the film adaptation, the original film adaptation, 1990s, Total Recall, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Screenplay credited to Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon and Gary Goldman. There's an interesting featurette on the disc about how Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett basically went to Philip K. Dick's house, was like, we'll give you $1,000 in 1974. And he was like, all right, make it a movie, I guess.
Who
and
cares?
then 15 years later, it finally came to be. So there's more there. But anyhow, Buzzy, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
I forget, did we foist Total Recall upon you, or did you pick it?
It was a semi-foist. I think, last time we discussed how a lot of sci-fi films emerge out of short stories and how I only read the only fiction I read is short fiction.
Yeah. And
so we kind of, it was one of the Total Recall was one of the ideas that we had said if I come back. But we also talked about, there's a lot of films based on Hemingway short stories, but I think this felt maybe more fun after The Cheever, which was a little heady.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have
this
kept
is not
the Burt
heady at all.
Lancaster going for sure, but
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah, this is it's all about heads.
Yeah, famously pretty dumb movie.
What would you say?
Well,
this?
I mean, I was making a pun about like brain alteration.
Yeah, I know.
You got it. I just dick-splained.
Yeah.
so this
Well, wait.
is
Sorry. This movie's heady, and like if you throw it at someone, it'll explode.
Yes.
right.
The second half.
Get ready for
But
it.
it also
All right.
warns you.
So that wasn't worth it. I shouldn't have stopped you for that.
Yeah. We
But
we didn't have much momentum, but it just completely.
Yeah, which is good. I think it's better.
Yeah, derail at all times.
I will say I was excited because I had not read the short story, but growing up, this was one of my favorite films. I don't know if it was the first R-rated movie I saw, but it was among the first R-rated movies I saw. And so it was like very edgy and kind of exciting. As a kid, the concepts they were playing with were very easy for me to kind of get. Yeah. And also I was very seduced by the sort of terraforming Mars ending, spoiler alert, of the movie. That was very the idea that like ancient aliens on Mars left a terraforming machine.
Or did they?
Or did they?
Or did they?
Well, we can say that.
Yeah.
Or did they?
Well, I mean,
Did you say that?
You know, like that.
that
But that
is-
idea really captivated me.
Yeah,
It's very cool.
No,
well, that
that's
is
cool.
one of the funny things about it. To speak sort of broadly, is that as a 10-year-old, when I saw it for the first time, I just kind of took the adventure story at face value and was like, I really enjoy this.
Right.
And like now watching it, it's like, oh, I think Verhoeven is very pointedly being like, I am commenting on adventure stories.
Right.
Like this is an adventure story in quotes kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
almost.
kind of what he always does.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, that's something too. Like RoboCop, I didn't get really as a kid. And
Robo
then,
Jesus, man.
and now it's like, oh, there's a lot more going on here than
Right.
I understood. But it also just works as an action movie too.
Right.
Yeah. Also, has he ever made a PG-13 movie? I'm trying to think.
I don't think he
I
lets
don't think
himself.
he doesn't do it.
I think Babe Pig in the City, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. Isn't that
It's George Miller, I think.
George Miller,
Yeah.
yeah. That's like the classic joke. And somebody, have you seen the interview where some interviewer was like, I noticed that like all of your films are sort of about like climate change and the, you know, he's like, yes, that's correct. Like all of them are like Babe Pig in the City and Mad Max about
And Happy Feet.
and Happy Feet.
They all cross over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's very
Sorry.
strong messaging.
We can cut all
across
this
the
out.
board.
No,
that's-
this is what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
we cut nothing.
Well, yeah, Verhoeven, he's a Dutch madman who's
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
everything's going to be way too sexy,
Yeah.
which is great.
Or
I mean,
just
it's awesome.
gratuitous and
Just-
not sexy.
Yeah, that
Depends on his mood, I guess.
too. Yeah, it does depend. But,
The special effects also made a big impression
Yeah.
on me as a kid. The face is exploding, and the woman's
Yeah.
head, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And pulling that
Or he-
tracker out of his fucking
That's
head.
what I was
That
gonna
was
say. Just a
awesome.
giant ball coming out of his nose.
And let us not forget the absolutely terrifying eye bulging when they hit the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
yeah.
That really fucked me up as a kid.
Well,
Yeah,
like
I don't know about
that's
anybody else.
it's an amazing as like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie because
Yeah.
it literally starts with him going like, oh,
Yeah. It
and you're like,
captivates
oh,
on
it's
you.
So they get the Arnold sound in right away.
Yeah.
They're like,
Also-
you don't have to wait for it.
It's like a 10-minute sequence, dude. It's,
Yeah, and I kind of love Arnold Schwarzenegger's films. And as we discussed last time, I have a book of 90s trivia, and Arnold gets like a whole chapter. And I forget, you know, if I was smart, I would have had the question with me that I wrote about Total Recall. So I'll pull it up on my phone while you guys, I don't know, do whatever, talk about like the publishing history of Philip.
yeah.
Right. Well, yes. So anyhow, Ronald Shusett. No.
Keep going, and I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I will talk about it. It is kind of interesting because as I was saying on the making of featurette, which I think was on the 2001 DVD, they do interview Paul Verhoeven. They do interview. What did I say? Interview.
Interview, yeah.
They do interview Paul Verhoeven. They interview Schwarzenegger, Rod Shusett, Gary Goldman. Dan O'Bannon clearly was just like, nah, fuck off.
Yeah. Also may have been dead.
Earned.
No, he didn't die till the late 2000s. I
Did he?
think. Late
Okay.
2000s. But anyhow, just talking about how like at a certain point Dino De Laurentiis bought the script, and like the amount of like directors and stars that came through because it was like Richard Dreyfuss,
Cronenberg was supposed to direct the Dreyfus one,
Yeah. That would have
Whoa.
been insane.
and he wrote a draft.
Yeah.
Oh, that had to be so fucked up.
Oh, of course.
That is.
I
Of course.
forget
There's
if
no
it-
way it's not. That's not.
I forget if it was confirmed in the bonus feature, but I think I read somewhere that Cronenberg is made Quado. Like Quado is his.
Yes, it is.
that makes
Yes.
so
that,
much
actually,
sense.
that does track. Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, guy growing out of a guy's stomach. Yeah, that
He
was
al-
Cronenberg.
He
yeah.
also, I think, some of the idea that there were like no, never mind. But yes,
But,
I think
but
the Cronenberg version had like when he put his hand on, he remembered everything. It, like, unlocked. Instead of it being this like Martian rescue, it was like he was able
That's
to.
when everything came back to him.
Yeah.
That makes because in part of that featurette that I also watched, they talk about how it was super hard to crack like the third act.
Yeah.
And it was like basically once they figured out the terraforming Mars and the air charging for air, that's when they could kind of like
Yeah.
they could actually complete an arc basically.
yeah, and Ron Schusett's impression of Dino De Laurentiis, Mars and air, I can't, whatever. And then I guess apparently Bruce Beresford of like Breaker Morant and Driving Miss Daisy comes on board, and he's like, I love it. The air and Mars, it's perfect. And then Dino De Laurentiis is like, I'm full of shit.
Yeah.
I guess it's good. He likes it. We make the movie.
Oh, my God.
And then Dino De Laurentiis ran
time.
out of money. So, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Shame.
Should we talk about the story?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should. Well, I mean, we can also talk about Dick in general. So, like, what is our background with Philip K. Dick, PKD? I mean, I feel like it's just the adaptations I've seen. This story is the first piece of his actual writing that I've encountered.
I've probably read like maybe 5 or 6 of his books, and like maybe like 70% of his short stories. He has a ton, though.
Allan just dick shamed you.
Yeah. Allan just put his Philip K. Dick on the table.
Yeah, sure did, man. Behold its majesty.
That's a lot of dick.
That's what they tell me.
See, this is why we shouldn't do this in the audio format. Someone's going to take that out of
I mean, we could put sound effects.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's going to be our new theme song, actually.
Sort of an anvil falling on the ground, maybe.
Okay. Ooh. So you've read 5 of them. Yeah.
Like 5 or 6, somewhere like that.
Did these stories have names, Allan?
I mean, you want me to list all the novels
I've read? Yeah, why not? Give us some names.
Confessions of a Crap Artist, Ubig, Duetro Stream, Electric Sheep, Valis. Fuck, now I can't even. Now you put me on the spot.
Where would you say?
Like
where would you say this ranks with the rest of them?
I think it's an okay story for him. I think it's a pretty cool idea in general, but he gets so much weirder. Like I was telling Justin the other day, the movie Next is based off of The Golden Man, which is an objectively beautiful short story that they turn into. Even though I love Nick Cage, they turn it into absolute garbage.
Buzzy?
No.
It's a movie. Do you want to? Should we tell Buzzy about Next?
Nick Cage can predict the future.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like in a way that is like truly, like, even if you had the ability to predict the future.
Spoilers for Next. Basically, the whole movie, as I understand it, is Nick Cage meets with a woman in a diner.
It sort of has an amazing ending.
It's an amazing. He's like, it's a bad movie, so don't worry about it. But basically, like, he's in a diner, he meets a woman, and then the whole movie happens, and it's like he's on the run, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and then it comes back, and he's like, he just foresaw the future. He's like, no, I don't want to do any of that, and then he walks out of the diner. It's pretty
kind of good.
Got it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
got it.
We're dumb, so we like it.
I mean, it's like in a bad movie, it's the best ending you could possibly have.
It really is. It's basically it is very like, what if Total Recall? I mean, is Total Recall all a dream? We don't know.
I have very strong feelings about.
Oh well, we'll get there.
Yeah, each one.
We'll get there.
Okay,
story and the movies.
Story and the movie. Okay, yeah, I had never read any of his stuff either, but I'm really fascinated by like Philip K. Dick, the person. Even though I've not really read all his stuff or any of his stuff, but like
you
that.
Read Confessions of a Crap Artist.
Oh, is that more like a?
It's almost a memoir, but it's fiction, but it's largely about his life.
Well, because there's that whole thing where like because I love the like it's all this was published in like Galaxy magazine or whatever, like because like he could just make money like being a pulp writer. And I love
money is a strong word.
He had enough money to afford a bowl full of amphetamines like they were M&Ms.
Hey, they were cheaper then, yeah.
They just gave you a bunch of pills
on the streets,
and then like there's that whole thing where he thought he like was, he's claimed to have been hit by like a pink bolt of lightning that changed his brain chemistry and like and revealed secrets to himself that he knew from So like he's a weird guy. He's really cool. I love that kind of culture. That like pulp writing culture is really interesting to me.
Yeah,
of just like guys who just stayed up all night taking speed and writing.
Yeah, he's kind of like Stephen King in that way, where he's just like churning them out.
Very much.
Yeah, and there's something there. There is something about the story that feels like a fun idea, and I'm going to get to my word count. And submit.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's definitely the feeling of like, right, this could be a much longer idea, which is perfect for it to become a film. But yeah, at the end, he's like, and then it just kind of folds back in on itself, and we're out of here. Don't worry about it. It's going to be in 3 different issues, and we're set.
Yeah. I want to say something, and I'm going to give you license to cut this out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about this short story which is like he had a cool idea, which is like, what if we could like erase memories or put memories in, or what, like, memories as sort of software, and it feels like it's interesting because he chose like a spy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I think that there is something interesting, like about his and a lot of like science fiction, speculative fiction that likes to use espionage because it is like somewhere where it would make sense to do a high cost sort of edge case aspect of technology. And I want to just say that I'm sort of I fell victim to this. I started a short story and it was based on a tweet that I saw. The tweet was that like the ratatouille controlling me is at war with another ratatouille, and like me and this man are like strangling each other to death and like looking into each other's eyes with like a look of recognition that neither of us are doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like a funny tweet, but I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And I took that and kind of came up with this idea that like in the future, it's not going to be like drone pilots, but like people pilots.
Okay, yeah.
And that the people might not necessarily be aware that they're being piloted, and stuff like that. Like
that's
as
a cool idea.
And so I started writing this, and then the idea is like, you know, they have this and they hate these people and they want to like fight or whatever, you know, all these different use cases. And the idea is it's sort of like used for espionage and
or you know, Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
And wet work. And then, of course, like something malfunctions and the two people are like looking at each other. They still can't control their bodies, but their minds kind of wake up and they're like weeping and killing each other.
Terrifying.
But then I read Persuasion Nation, and George Saunders kind of does that in Persuasion Nation, where they're like sort of going through the motions of this thing, but like, and so I felt like it's been done. So I didn't finish my story. The point is that like it's interesting how espionage is very like what is it about I mean, I kind of touched on some of it, but it's interesting that we kind of people keep.
It feels like espionage is like a gateway to like deep cover and programming different personalities seem to go hand in hand.
Right.
Seems like a no-brainer kind of idea, maybe. I don't know.
I guess it probably also just gives like some propulsion to like something that's a little headier or more idea based, right?
But I do also think the world of espionage is one that involves multiple like people creating identities so that they can navigate through certain situations, and then just taking it to the next step of like they're hiding their true identity even from themselves, just to pass more easily or whatever.
Even a step beyond that, it's like somewhere where we know governments use the bleeding edge of technology, where kind of costs are not necessarily an object when it concerns like accomplishing their goals.
Sure.
So I think that combination of things is a good recipe for some like speculative fiction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a little. I'm not remembering all the details, but you did just remind me. There is like one of the story threads in Jennifer Egan's The Candy House is about that, and it's obviously with her. It's also about the way it's written, but it's there's a section that's sort of the documentation of this woman who is infiltrating some sort of kingpins. You know, she's being like the sort of the concubine to a kingpin, and like. This whole chapter is just kind of like her brain, like her brain during that process. I think it's still something that like is inspiring to speculative writers even now.
Yeah. I also think this particular story plays very well into the fantasy that I think from the adaptations I've seen that Dick, you know, it's like there's a lot of epistemology questions, right? Yeah. But there's also a lot of like, I think a lot of sci-fi plays well into like the fantasy that like I'm not actually this mundane drone, right?
Yes.
Quail in the story is like, who knows what he does? He's like a office.
He's a guy who. In the story, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
in the movie, they're just jackhammering.
He's just a guy with a jackhammer.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that.
Indiscriminate jackhammering is his job title.
Like,
I think
he's much more mild mannered and seems sort of like a nobody in the book, and it's sort of that fantasy that like, I'm just an office guy, but actually, you know, I'm a sleeper agent who hasn't been activated. Is like a
and then I'm the most important man in the world.
Exactly.
On top of that, it's like crazy.
I am space
that's
Jesus.
The thing is, like, there is the part of me that wonders, like, if there wasn't the Total Recall movie, would we have stuff like, he's not being activated, but like John Wick or
Right.
Nobody or stuff like the stuff where it's just like, I'm not the normal person. Actually, I'm secretly quite
So
extraordinary at murdering the fuck out of people.
Right. Or alternately, like, to me, and like this one is like, if you're just like stuck with a wife who's nagging and at a shitty job, like actually it's just because that's your cover. The other one that I really stuck out for me was Ender's Game, which was like, to me, the fantasy of like, I'm not just like a lame gamer. I'm actually like, when the president calls,
They're
I'm
testing
ready
me to make sure I can kill the bad guys.
Yes.
I'm actually the best in the world.
The Matrix kind of has a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Being like, hacker Jesus. There's a lot of Messiah stories.
Yeah,
and
the
these
Chosen
types of
One
things.
story,
The Chosen
yeah.
One deal. The prophecy foretold of the last Starfighter. Like as I feel
Welcome
that's
back to Dune, I guess, right?
Yeah, Dune is definitely part of it. It's a very common, but it works. I mean, it works every time basically. But and it's so funny where like he's in the short story, like he's like, I'm never gonna make it to Mars.
Yeah.
Whereas
Right.
I can see like the idea of doing a Dreyfus version where you're like, this is a normal guy. You'd have
Right.
no idea
Yeah.
he's actually a spy. When like
Dreyfus in
Schwarzenegger,
some action
Yeah,
scenes,
he definitely
dude.
feels more Walter Mitty in the story. Like when Schwarzenegger is even given the line in the movie of like, I just think there should be more for me or whatever, however he says it.
It's like you could do whatever you want.
exactly. It's like you seem
Yeah.
like you have a
Yeah,
lot
your
of
greatest
options.
statue
It's
here.
like,
comes to
it's
life.
like
for you.
we let it go because he's so great in the rest of it.
Yeah.
But like
Right.
setting him up as sort of this like like kind of like middle of I don't know what would you call
He's
the
a
character?
middle class jackhammer.
Yeah.
I'm just your
Which,
regular blue
by the way,
collar
Working in the Fred
Jackhammer.
Flintstone quarry or whatever the fuck. Like,
What? What? Like
I have
why
no idea. There's like
that?
40 guys with jackhammers.
And by the way,
in a quarry.
like, we clearly have like high technology. They don't have to drive cabs anymore. They've got Waymos.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
AKA Johnny Cab,
Yeah.
played by Robert Picardo. I do want to talk about how many Star Trek actors are involved in this film, but we're going to save that. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe we should just get out, since the movie is definitely like takes the story as a jumping off point. We should maybe just sort of break
Yeah.
down what the story is about.
Yeah.
Did you want to do that, Tyler? Maybe.
Sure, we can do that real quick.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, we meet Douglas Quayle, again, as we've established, sort of like your kind of run-of-the-mill schlubby guy who's just like, I want to go to Mars, that's my dream. And his wife is like, shut up, you're an idiot.
We can't afford that.
We can't afford that. Why can't you be happy with your life, you stupid moron?
Yeah.
And which she like leaves him abruptly. I think Phil got some issues with women.
For sure.
I'm just going to point that out.
Where his issues end, Paul Verhoeven's
He's
begin.
like, let me. Oh yeah, there's some. Yeah, boy. Whew. But anyway, so he's like, I'm never gonna go to Mars. I'm a loser. And she's like, oh, shut up. And then he like goes to work, and then he's like, oh, there's this thing called recall where they can implant memories. Recall. And he's like, oh, excuse me, sir, it's called recall.
Yeah, you fucking idiot.
You don't know anything, do you, Quail?
Yeah.
But they're like, hey, we can offer you this package. It's much cheaper than going to Mars, but you think you've gone to Mars because you'll have 2 weeks of memories, and it's perfect. You'll never forget anything about it. There's no lost luggage. It's that's actually from the movie. Never mind. But anyways, they're like, it's perfect. You'll have 2 great weeks.
You
And
forgot
it's
the
like,
paragraph describing the secretary's colored breast.
Yeah, how she's basically like topless with body paint
Yeah,
on.
Jesus Christ.
Well, and you also forgot the part about how they have memorabilia packages and they fill your house with your souvenirs.
Right, which is cool. Like they give you a ticket
to make it good, yeah.
And unlike in the movie, because I don't know if they say it in the movie, but like in the story is like, and we'll erase it so you never even knew. Like,
right, we
you
don't
came
even
to us.
which doesn't feel like a successful business model. Because
No.
like, say you want to go back because you're like, I had such a great time with that memory. Then how do you remember to go back if they've
Also,
erased it?
what is your Amex bill is like recall? I never did.
they change it.
Also, like some of those memories are so outlandish. It's like that couldn't possibly have happened.
Right. They make you a
yeah.
spy for 2. They're willing to make him a spy on Mars for 2 weeks, and you just, I guess, go on living with that idea in your mind for the rest of your
Right.
life. You know, it's so the idea is about perception versus reality. But basically, he's like, sign me up. I want to do it. Send me to Mars. They go in. The pretty lady with the breasts take him back. No,
I will say this, but like the McClane character, who's
yes.
the like guy who works at Recall who does the pitch, like in the story is described as like overweight and sweaty at some point. But otherwise, the pitch is kind of very similar in the movie. Like, it's maybe not word for word, but it's like, yeah.
You're gonna enjoy this. You're gonna have every moment. The only thing they kind of twist in the movie is they add as like a bonus package the idea of the ego trip, where it's like you go and you're a spy, or you go and you're an athlete, or whatever. And McClane and Quayle in the movie wants to be a spy. So that's kind of that was like the only.
Do you guys know
twist.
why in the story he's Quayle and in the movie he's Quaid?
No.
Because Dan Quayle was the vice president while they were making the movie.
That makes
Wow.
So they changed it to Quaid.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Is that in your book?
It's not in my book.
Oh, that would have been good for the book. Honestly.
I know.
Okay, I'll save it for the next
Sequel
one.
book.
Okay,
No.
so then what happens?
All right. So anyway, he goes in.
Yeah, Tyler, shut up and do
All
your
right,
thing.
all right. I'm just trying to, okay. They go in, they like shoot him up full of drugs to like put him under to implant the memories, and then while he's under, because they ask him questions about like where are we going to put these what 2 weeks of your life are we going to erase to replace with the Mars trip, and then he starts describing in detail a trip to Mars that he took where he's a spy and he like killed somebody, and they're like, this is a big problem.
Yeah.
So then it turns out, okay, they send him home. It turns out he was actually a spy.
So they don't reveal that he killed someone yet.
Oh, right.
Just that he was there for Interplan, which is the spy organization.
Intergalactic agency.
But it's later when he gets home and there's an Interplan agent there that he's like, that's no good. They can't know you went to Mars. And then he's like, why not? And he's like, oh, I remember. I fucking killed somebody for you guys.
I'm an
Like,
assassin.
you shouldn't
I'm
have said
actually
that.
So he remembers in the story.
It then comes back.
And
to
he
him.
remembers both. He remembers it not happening, like the fake trip and the real trip.
Right, yes.
Which is why it's so confusing too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like he remembers having brought back like fauna, and then he like comes to his desk drawer and he pulls out
Finds
like
it.
it's still there.
The best part was that the recall gave him a half his money back.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll do a half refund. I think that's a fair compromise.
Yeah, it's a fair compromise.
That's a great line. That's so good. And then there's a kind of that extended thing with the inner plan agent where it's like, oh, he can hear his thoughts because of the bug is actually
Loved
like you
that.
can hear. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a moment where it's like, oh, we know what he's going to do, but he still can do it because he's like that good at being a kick-ass assassin
Like
spy.
they can tell he's going to go for his gun or go for the agent's gun, but he's still too fast for the agent. Like
To
the
do
agent
it.
knew it was coming, but
Yeah.
he
Couldn't
was still
stop
too
him.
fast for him.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Then what? Oh, at some point his wife leaves him. Oh, she leaves him.
She walks out right as the Interplan agent
Yeah.
walks
Yeah, they-
in. So it kind of plants the idea of the Sharon Stone character of like the wife's in on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed to be the case.
And that is why she's like saying like, you don't want to go to Mars,
Yeah.
you're a loser.
Yeah, don't
You want
do
another
it.
trip? Go under the in
Let's
the
go to
story.
the-
It's like go underwater.
Oh, take
Go to
a
the bottom of
fin
the
suit
ocean.
or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Sounds cool. Let's
It's like,
do it.
are you just breathing water? Like, I'm
got it.
so interested in what those trips
year-round
are.
underwater
want
resorts
that.
they
Yeah.
got? That sounds cool as hell.
Crushing blackness of the deep ocean.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
You wave to James Cameron as he's
Sea Lab
submarine
2020.
spy or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's gonna be great. So then I'm trying to if there's any other moves. Basically, he's eventually captured.
He makes a deal.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
He
oh,
does
right,
it.
they're
He's
like-
not captured. I think he makes a deal
Yes,
in
that's
his
right.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I know you can hear me. I'll turn myself in as long as you can like
Yeah.
replace my memories again. Cause
Which
they don't,
I love the idea of them just going through. Like, it would just be so much easier to kill him.
Right,
But they're
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, that's
But
fair.
he was
That's
a good
deal.
man. He was
Yeah.
very important to their cause.
Yeah,
and, like,
true.
He deserves our admiration.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
They're like, and then he's like, okay, so replace my memories. And they like bring him back to recall, and they're like, okay, we got to find this like core memory, something that he wants as a kid.
What he
like, fix
desires
him.
even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, than going to Mars. Like, what is the thing? If we give it to him, he'll be happy forever.
That's the thing they talk about, like in his telepathic conversation, is like, if we just erase it again, you're going to get antsy and want to go to recall again.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Right,
So-
exactly. Basically, it's like, by erasing a memory that's happened, like your brain, it doesn't, like your subconscious
Desire.
doesn't forget.
We can
it.
erase
Right.
your memories. We can't erase your desires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so eventually,
Which is a
like-
very, I think, a Dick comment on
Yeah.
not a Philip K. Dick commenting on like human nature, right? Like that,
Yeah.
what we desire precedes maybe our experiences.
Yeah.
That's exactly, and which is like, because I think he's also obsessed with like reality and virtual reality and this like,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, even if you get what you want, you think you've gotten what you want, it's not enough actually to like,
Yeah.
you have to experience it, and like even if it's gone, you still want it, anyways. So yeah, they need to replace it with something big, and basically they like probe his memory, like his like deepest desires, until he's like. It's pretty cool.
wild, dude.
It's good.
Yeah,
They're
it's so
they're
good,
like,
though.
We're gonna make it a memory in your brain when you're 9 that aliens land in front of you, but they're tiny and you
love
could,
'em.
you could
Yeah.
crush them but you like telepathically communicate with them, and they're
here to invade Earth.
Invade Earth and just kill everybody and take all our resources and leave. But you showed them compassion, and so by showing them compassion, they're like, you know what, we'll never blow up this planet as long as you're alive. And they're like, that's the memory we got to put in him. Yeah. And then they put him under.
And then there's also a magic stick.
Oh yeah, he gets a magic stick.
Well, we proved like we need the artifact.
Yeah.
So it was like the magic stick, but its power ran out. He used it.
Yeah, you've used it too
but
many
they
times.
added memories of him using the magic stick
of like
and like the made up language and shit.
Right, exactly. With a piece of a piece of paper with a bunch of made up language. Like he'll fill in the details. It doesn't matter.
And the idea is that it's something he would keep secret.
Right, exactly. He'll never tell anyone.
It's great.
It's really so good. And then they go in, they put him under, and then he starts telling them that exact thing in detail. And they're like, "Oh shit, I guess we can't kill him because he's the only thing standing between us and these aliens blowing us up." End of story.
End of story. We're out of there.
I guess it wasn't a fantasy.
I guess it also happened.
Well, I don't know. Is that what you took from it?
Yeah.
I
think.
Well, especially the way the last sentence phrases it. That's what I assumed. Yeah.
I read it as like it's like all these layers of like the way his mind is like warping and like adapting to these things that are getting put into him.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in there. To me, the book is like all of this is real, and both movies, all of this is fake. That's kind of my ultimate takeaway.
It had kind of occurred to me that it's like, is it possible that by like the way he replanted that back to them, that they come to him and then he's sort of, while he's under, he's like fucking with him, basically being like, let me come up with a way for you to never be able to kill me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's this like made up alien. Like, it did seem like that could be part of it, but I kind of ultimately came away just being like, I think that happened.
I think it happened.
My take in the story is that both times they haven't actually started implanting.
Right.
They're like prepping the brain, and it's like when he starts babbling under the drugs, they're like, oh shit, there's already stuff in here.
Yeah, because it's like
in
basically
both cases. That's how I read it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The stuff they give him is also like basically a truth serum kind of thing. He's like loopy.
Yeah.
He's looped. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
I think that's definitely what like the movies take away from that, and they purposely try to like play with that. But I think at least in my opinion, like the book, all that weird shit happened because that's kind of like the way Philip K. Dick is.
I feel like the story is about like the things that we repress in a way.
Yeah.
And then like when you uncork it, it's like, oh shit, there's an encounter with aliens in here.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. But the movie is definitely has something else on its mind.
He also has like a big thing about like memory regression and shit like that in some of his stories. So that's kind of why I lean more towards that.
Interesting.
Okay. But yeah, both movies none of that shit is real.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, definitive. I'll make my case. Don't worry about it.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'll make my case.
Yeah.
Well, literally in the Arnold one,
the guy shows up.
When he's sitting down, one of the texts is like, "Oh shit, blue skies on Mars, cool. It's a new one." And just like says it in the background, but he's like right when the lady is talking to him about like which woman he wants to pick, and it's like, okay, that's 100% not real. At that point, that's what I belive.
Interesting.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm team It's All a Dream, but like.
Yeah. But I think the point is like they don't care.
The photorealistic image of her, how like the proto, like just like the fact that the computer would generate an image of the exact woman who
from his
appears,
dream,
as opposed to like the way he describes it, you could generate a lot of women.
Yeah,
so I think that lean.
No, they're just like, no, it's a 34B. It's like there's only 34 women, I guess.
40, I think it was a 41.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
there's 41 women.
There's 41 women.
Well, no, 41 times 26.
Oh, okay, sure.
Presumably,
still pretty low. I feel like.
But wanton and demure.
Exactly.
So I want
and
to.
sleazy.
But it is funny because I definitely hadn't seen Brazil before this, but like it's. Like Brazil is definitely a movie where it's like he's dreaming about a specific woman and then she's real.
Right.
And I think definitely as a 10-year-old, I was just like, it just so happens he's dreaming about her and the computer's dreaming and she's real.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but that's a 10-year-old thinking about it. And
Right. Yeah. Well, so I think to me the most striking difference of the movie, well, there's a lot of difference of the movie and the book, was that Arnold in the movie never remembers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Which is
sort of like
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, even
Because he
when
never has total recall.
Even
No.
when like the truth is revealed to him in the story, like it never.
He still
resonating
thinks
back to
he's
him.
Quaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I read in some of the stuff about how they wrote it, they decided to keep the Hauser and Quaid character distinct to make it more heroic.
Oh, okay.
Versus him, like if he remembers he's Hauser, I actually think it's a more interesting. Like, oh, I remember all my stuff, but I'm still going to choose to whatever.
To do the right
I think
thing,
it was
yeah.
cleaner to like separate the evil bad guy and a good guy.
That it never comes back to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Arnold
when
could pull off that
When
complexity.
he first meets Melina, played by Rachel Ticotin, and he's like, Hauser sent me here. And it's like, what are you talking about? Your Hauser? He's like, no, I'm Quaid. Like, yeah, he never is like, I guess
Right.
I'm Hauser.
It came
but,
back to me
yeah.
that this is yeah.
That's my body you in, Quaid.
A couple of things that I thought were interesting was like how the need to change the name to Quaid created an interesting echo with Quado. So it's like Quaid and Quado, and the idea that like this, I don't know what that means, but that wasn't there. Even if you kept his name Quail, which they probably wanted to, you wouldn't get that. And I thought that was actually pretty neat.
I mean, it's insane to have mutants in there at all.
Yeah,
It's a Philip K. Dick like thing. Like he has
Yeah.
mutants in like tons of his shit. So it's kind of wild he didn't have it in his like story.
And I also think the
Yeah.
kind of like corpo-fascism feels very him.
Yeah, but that's definitely Verhoeven.
And that
Yeah.
that marries very nicely.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
both of their interests. Yeah.
True.
Sharon Stone. I mean,
amazing.
Talk about an awakening for me as a 10-year-old boy.
There's two things. There's Sharon. Well, there's 5 things. There's Sharon Stone, and there's a 3-boobed mutant lady.
Yeah.
Making
Also,
she had 3 hands, you know?
so if I were to say the line "clever girl," you would think I was quoting Muldoon from
Jurassic
Park.
Yeah.
In 1990, that line was uttered by one Arnold Schwarzenegger about Sharon Stone. And I think it's time he gets credit.
They claim it. I think it's more applicable to Sharon Stone than that Velociraptor.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, I also wondered if, like, Spielberg was kind of winking.
Yeah. No, not a chance. Oh, maybe. I don't know. It did say
I mean,
he was one of the directors maybe attached, right?
Sharon
to the original?
Stone-
Got a
Yeah.
chance
Sharon
to
Stone was kind of a velociraptor in this movie.
Yeah.
She ate
Yeah. Yeah.
the workout outfit.
Oh, it's what she's doing tennis. Yeah, very
Incredible. I also want to talk about in general. One of the things I love about this movie is like how. Well, I like the retro futurism, but how it still feels like it's not like a crazy out there world. Like people are rocking Nikes. There's still like the nerdy dude with the thing. It's like a Casio. Like all the brand placement and the fact that like, this is like sort of cheesy like retro, but it's also like I don't know. Watching it now, I'm like, aside from the Mars and the memory stuff, it's like not that far. We got the Waymos.
Yeah.
We've got the like picture screen thing.
Well, that was something that I thought was funny that is in the story is the robot car. And,
Yes.
And in the robot car in the story just keeps saying like, certainly, sir or madam.
Sir or madam.
Yeah.
Honestly, it did it because it reminded me obviously very much of a Waymo, and it's like, oh right, if you did a movie now and someone's trying to get into a Waymo, you couldn't have the moment where you're like, step on it, go somewhere. Like they do it in 1990 where he gets into the RoboCab and they're like, where do you want to go, sir? And he's like, anywhere, take me anywhere, go,
Like,
go.
can you
follow
repeat
them.
that, please?
And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna need this direct cross streets. I was
Yeah.
like, that's really good.
Can you try again?
Can you try it? Yeah, this is fantastic.
And then he's like, shit. I've never heard of that place.
Yeah.
It's very
Rips
good.
him in half.
Rips him off.
So since we're talking
As
about
is
the
everyone in
cab,
a
is this
Waymo.
the moment when I
Sure.
We
Star Trek.
Alan and I will
no.
we'll clear out and you can do what you got.
No, I was actually when we were talking about doing this, and I was like, "Oh my God, Benny the cab driver," and somebody said, "There's no Benny the cab driver. That's Who Framed Roger Rabbit."
I wonder who said that.
Damn.
Was it one of you guys?
No, I don't think so, man.
Oh.
I don't think so, man.
I guess
remember that
guess it must have been me, because
I guess
I
so,
like
yeah.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit quite a bit.
Yeah.
And who was the name? What was the name of that cab driver on Mars who turned out to be kind of a?
I think it was Benny.
Oh, was it
Benny?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it was
okay.
Benny. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns
How dare you?
Yeah, that's
turns
right.
out
Dare you.
The unmitigated gall.
I was fucking wrong, and I apologize to you
How
face to face.
dare you?
You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
If you had mitigated your gall a little bit,
Just a touch.
we would be okay.
Just a skosh.
But one interesting thing about that character who really made a big impression on me is that I guess the actor who played him had just done like a blaxploitation film and read the description of him as being like a jive talking black guy and was like, I'm not going to do this. And then he like actually read it and he was actually kind of excited about the fact that he wasn't like the magical Negro trope or like the helpful guy, but in fact like kind of self-serving and complex. He was a complex character. Like here he is a mutant, but also like trying to get his,
Yeah, working for Interplan or whatever they call
Or
it.
was he
Feeding his
because it's
5
all a
kids.
dream?
And that's
it's
another
all a
thing
dream.
too. As someone raised
all
on
fake, man.
80s movies, definitely the initial version of Benny like didn't even faze me. But now I'm just like, oh, this kind of character, I don't know.
Right.
And then the turn where you're like, oh, he's putting that on. Like that.
Right.
That version of Benny is not
The performative aspect of that persona.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you just got to race his brain, you know? It's all fake.
Yeah. I was clearly just raised racist.
If we're
No,
gonna
not
talk,
you, dude.
The
Total
Wait.
Recall. The Recall people.
Talking
No, I mean,
about total-
I was also raised racist.
Oh,
but
well,
anyhow,
I mean, if you want to double down, sure.
the
Let's give you a way out.
Speaking of the effects, we can talk about like the practical effects and stuff, but the X-ray machine was like the coolest thing I ever saw as a kid. I thought that was sick.
It's incredible, and it looks still so good.
It looks
Him
really
jumping
good.
through it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tyler. There was a more recent interview with the CG, like the head of CG on the film, and he was talking about how they did motion capture for it, and it didn't work. So then they just had to basically digitally rotoscope every frame of Arnold's action to like do the skeleton.
Oh my god.
Worth it. Worth every second.
Yeah, practical shit looks great.
Yeah.
It really is awesome.
Yeah, all the Arnold heads going.
Yeah.
This is an audio
Jesus.
format, so stuff.
They can imagine.
But you know how
If
the
you wanna
Arnold
do it all
heads go
narrated
in the movie, listeners.
But I actually I'm really impressed because there's no Mars in the story, and
Right, he doesn't actually go.
he doesn't go, and they really made like a very interesting, exciting. I remember as a kid being very surprised by the turns. I mean, maybe as an adult, adults weren't surprised, but I was like, oh, I didn't. Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Huh, and they keep kind of.
Well, and
shifting
also
it
the
on you.
movie. The movie does have those surprises, but it also like tells you like every single thing. They're like for instance, in the middle, a doctor shows up and is like, "Okay, you're starting to have a psychotic break.
Yeah.
Right.
I am I am.
I've been sent in.
Yeah.
I've got a red pill
Right.
for you to take, and we can get you out of here." Or you can continue to live in your psychotic fantasy. The following 5 things will happen.
Yeah.
Guess what? He stays in, and the following 5 things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
So you don't buy the you're sweating, so it's not real thing. I bought that hook, line, and sinker as a kid.
well, as a kid, I did.
No, the
that's what I'm
movie is
saying.
purposely trying to make you think it's all real. That's the whole point.
So you're saying for weak-minded people like me?
No. I believed
I'm
it
there
for
with
many.
you. I kind
believed
of thought
it
it
for
was.
many
I
years.
kind of think.
Yeah.
I still kind of.
It ultimately
I'm 60-40. I don't
doesn't
know.
matter,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point. Which is
Right.
why
It is-
he's like, when he realizes, like, maybe this could be fake at the end, he's like, I don't give a shit. Kiss
Right.
me.
Yeah,
Or whatever
this
the
is
fuck.
awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I
Which
could
is the
be,
same ending in the other remake, too.
It's like, I could be lobotomized right now, but this is a pretty great lobotomy if
Yeah.
it is.
yeah, he's had a pretty sad life
The-
before then, so he's
I
going out
also-
with the bang, you know?
I also like I also like how there's always the like functionary sent into the person's kind of reminded me of the Vanilla Sky
Yes.
Yeah.
guy who's like, your dream has become a nightmare and I'm here to help you out. Right?
Let me explain everything that's happening in this movie.
Yeah. So, but I liked how they kind of put that on its head.
Yeah, because he is set up in the commercial that he sees for recall. Like that's the only time he sees that doctor until he shows up in person. Is like, I'm here to tell you, you got to stop this. And your wife's here. She wants you to do it too.
Yeah. I also, I'm trying to think about the time and place that we're in here, 1990, and like the story that they're trying to tell about, the oil and gas industry, perhaps, and the way, like extractive capitalism, and I thought it was pretty like it. If you read that into it, it's a braver film than maybe it comes off as.
Totally. I mean, I've always just thought it's a badass movie.
Yeah. No, it's badass. There's no. I think that's like a given. Cool. That's like we're setting the table with it's badass.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's not just like a popcorn.
Yeah, it's
fun popcorn movie.
As they say in the thing, it's like a thinking man's action movie or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Verhoeven, again, I think like pointing out all the brands and stuff, I think that's all very purposeful.
I think so.
Oh, brands are just like everywhere. Or like
the Hilton on Mars.
It still exists and is like everywhere. Or even just like the idea of like TV screens in the subway. It's like, oh, this stuff is like invading your life. Corporate culture is invading your life in such a way.
Or even like, I think in the commentary, because I listen to like half or 2/3 of the commentary, Verhoeven is talking about like corporate entities seizing control of the air.
Yeah.
And like he's like, yes, that's
a logical extreme that like, in space that would be a commodity that would make you the richest man alive.
I also like not to make it about my creative ideas, but I always thought it would be interesting. There's this idea that, we go into space and it's going to be like nations or the planet or, kind of at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
And there's like no sci-fi where it's like corporations and capitalism, when in fact those are the ones that kind of like bring us into these frontiers
100%
historically. But there isn't really a sci-fi that's like I guess like Alien,
which is also Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett.
It is very
right. But I guess like in the sense of like a big, it's like there's no like kind of like Star Trek kind of thing, where it's like, or Firefly,
deep breath,
or Firefly, or something like that, where it's like big corporate interests that are kind of controlling.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We've always like established some sort of a star fleet, if you will, or some sort of intergalactic governmental. Because I was thinking like The Expanse has that thing, but it's not really nations, but it's like you become like belters or whatever. Like if you're, but that's not really.
I think
corporate.
most of that kind of sci-fi is relegated to like maybe video games,
right?
Because like Mass Effect is kind of a little bit of that. It's like corporations are kind of the ones in charge. There was a book that I read that is a little bit about that. Like he talks about this like future war, and he fought for the Boeing like brigade or some shit because the corporation owns the army,
right?
And like Google owns an army. It's like weird shit like that. But that's kind of the only time I've really maybe seen that.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of that goddamn book right now. It's okay though.
Would sure help this book podcast.
Yeah, it's okay though.
But yeah, the corporate culture. Well, should we do a movie breakdown here?
Oh yeah, maybe go a little more beat by beat.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's basically, I mean, it starts very similarly. It's obviously like a jumping off point. And I guess
it doesn't start similarly because he's not a mild-mannered functionary. He's the beefiest, jackhammeringest.
Jackhammer time with the boys.
They could have given him any job. They could have given him any job. Why are people doing this job?
It's like the same job he has in Running Man in prison. Aren't they just jackhammering?
Yeah.
Is there? Do we just want to see his muscle shake?
It's got to be Arnold's suggestion.
That was my headcanon that I came up with. Is like this is how they explain that he is so fucking jacked.
Right.
It's because he's just holding a giant jackhammer. No one else there looks like him, but I was like, but he is the one who his body type just really took to it really quickly. It made him super muscular.
So that's important to me that it doesn't start.
It does. It really. Yes. I guess in broad strokes, it starts the same.
I mean, not all of his movies try to explain that he's a fucking and they
giant
shouldn't
have
to.
It's beautiful that they don't sometimes.
Sometimes though.
I kind of thought about like who I would do like a contemporary recast who could do the action, but not stand out like a giant Austrian thumb.
Right. Well, that's probably what they tried with Colin Farrell.
Right.
Like his action scenes are
But I'm
actually
saying
pretty good.
in 1990, like
in
who could they have cast? Who did they miss?
Well, that's the thing is the Bruce Beresford version that fell apart when De Laurentiis went bankrupt was Patrick Swayze.
Oh.
Which Roadhouse Patrick Swayze.
If he's got the
is
hair,
interesting.
I don't know if I'd buy it
closer,
either.
Yeah.
A little bit closer to like being a human.
I still think I prefer this to a Swayze.
Probably
But-
Seagal.
What about
Probably
what about
Steven
like
Seagal.
a Jeff Bridges, 1990 Jeff Bridges?
Yeah.
I think he was in the running, but he also has a little bit more
I was thinking-
everyman. Like I could see him being a little more.
Like I was just thinking of him
like
as
playing
in
befuddlement.
Tron. You know,
Yeah.
Playing befuddlement. As
Matthew
well.
Modine maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Modine.
Pre-Cutthroat Island?
Well, I guess this was.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was like 93, I think.
93, yeah. Oh.
But yeah, maybe.
Modine, good looking, but kind of everymanish, but yeah, could do action.
I mean, I have trouble seeing anyone
really,
else.
I guess maybe also I'm just thinking of it.
I wouldn't have seen it if any of these people were.
Right. But what about like Bruce Willis, who's only a few years out from doing?
Fifth Element?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's more
maybe.
sarcastic.
He
Yeah,
could have
true.
made.
He would-
He
he
could
would
have
be
handled
like-
the comedy better. Probably.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Hey, consider it a divorce."
Yeah.
You know, he'd say it like that. It'd be a little different. You know.
Consider it the divorce.
He'd be like,
Okay,
"Oh,
sorry, I interrupted. We
Oh, no,
haven't
it's
done
okay.
these
No, it
yet.
is. It
come
is
out,
a great thought
come out the
experiment.
car tomorrow. We'll get together. We'll have a few laughs.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
it writes
yeah, it
itself.
writes
We could
itself,
do
it
it.
writes
We could do
itself.
it right now. All right, anyways.
Let's go back in time.
Well, yeah. So
hard.
I will say this movie again. It does start a little. He like has the memory. He has a dream of Mars and the woman he meets there of Melina, and then he like wakes up and Sharon Stone's like, relax, calm down. But
Who is
she's
she?
much nicer.
Dreaming about that brunette again.
That brunette because I'm
She goes
famously
from
blonde.
She goes from joking to not joking to joking again. It's a
to
weird scene.
Let me help you forget,
Yeah,
pal.
yeah,
Hey, yo.
yeah.
But anyways, he goes to his job.
Aggressive forgetting.
Forgetting.
Yeah.
Goes to his job. He's like, I'm unfulfilled. I want to go to Mars.
Which I don't know why.
He goes to recall. I mean, I know, right? If you got transformers,
What are you doing, man? Yeah.
Um,
Grass is always greener, you know?
yeah, exactly. There's a brunette out there on Mars, I guess.
Maybe.
And maybe.
Well, and also the way he stares at footage of Ronnie Cox. Like, do you have a thing for Ronnie Cox?
I mean, to be honest, that's kind of how I was looking at Ronnie Cox in this movie because I fucking love that guy.
Bit of a snack.
Beverly Hills Cop, RoboCop.
He's always such a piece of
He's
shit.
so good.
So good at
Captain
being a piece of
Jellicoe.
shit.
I just love him. So, anyways, he decides. Well, so here's the question, and I guess we can talk about it more. But it's like, so he goes to the recall. He gets the pitch. He's gonna do it. His buddy at the work state place, don't do it. You're gonna get lobotomized.
Yeah.
People are trying to
They're
push him
butchers.
away for the butchers, the brain butchers.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
They're all correct.
They are all correct. apparently. He starts to do it, and again, it's the same thing. That's a cool effect with the woman changing her nails by just like touching them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I wonder how they did that.
That's awesome. I don't know.
I also was kind of thinking how they did that. Yeah.
super cool.
I don't know if it was optical or whatever, but Verhoeven did say she actually had red nails. So, like when it was blue, I think it was colored, but then when they tapped it, it was just sort of like revealed the real nail underneath.
That's
that's
why it
cool.
looks so good. Okay.
That makes sense. That's cool
It
as
was
hell.
a cool effect.
He gets the whole pitch. He's going to go to Mars. He's going to be a spy. He picks that.
Yeah.
He goes, and then they're about to put him under, and then it's like, oh no, he's going nuts. And so I guess my question:
Schizoid embolism.
we got a schizoid embolism happening. Come on.
Yeah.
At what point, if you think it's all fake,
Yeah.
does it begin to be fake? Is it from the very beginning of the movie? Because
No,
I don't think
I
we
think
ever
as
see
soon-
him
as
go
soon as
under.
he-
As soon as they start to
starts-
go under, because it's always like, oh shit, something's wrong. It's like,
'Cause-
no, that's the memory hidden.
That's in
Yeah,
your
but
mind.
I will- I will
because
yeah.
it does cut away.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's at the moment of cutting away. You have to buy the premise that they've created a dream in which he knows what other characters are doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was
Otherwise, you're
saying,
like,
well,
why
that's
do I
the
know
movie.
what all these other
The movie
Exactly.
cheats, you know,
It
because
definitely-
they have to show other people.
They do
because
the
they don't
scene
want to do a
where
POV movie.
Michael Ironside and Ronnie Cox talk, and he has to like be privy to that, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Which
it's
makes
kind
me
of
think
cheating.
it's maybe not. It's maybe real.
Well, again, it doesn't matter, but
It
like,
doesn't matter,
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
because that's just
if I were to remake it, I would make it a straight POV movie so that you really would
you're
have
locked
to.
into
You're
it. Yeah.
locked in.
Well, and it's interesting that I guess in like
Because the book does that a little bit. Maybe that's where they're kind of grafting it from, where they have conversations where he's not present, or maybe that is just the movies. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, he's in like every moment. I think. Of the
Yeah.
book.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Did you have thoughts on that, Buzzy? When does it start?
When does it start? I'm in the. It's not all a fantasy camp.
All right.
Because I apparently still believing my 10-year-old self.
That's cool.
Hey,
man.
the room is divided correctly then.
Well,
You would know that I'm sitting next to Buzzy.
going back to
I
the
wanna
commentary,
believe, buddy.
I honestly think, like, even between like Schwarzenegger and Verhoeven, I think they're split. Like, I think in Verhoeven's mind, he's like, I'm like playing it both ways, but for me, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
And Schwarzenegger is like, no, I punch this guy, I shoot this guy. What are you talking about? You know, like
Very literal takes, buddy.
I
Very
like how-
literal takes.
I like how Triumph is being played by Insult the Comic Dog. Right? I mean, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I punched
Yeah.
this guy
Yeah.
for me to
I
poop.
poop on you. Exactly. That's I like that. Well, yeah, because it would be crazy for Recall, the company, to be like, unless you think, I guess he's having a schizoid embolism, right, or whatever, and he's truly in control. Like he's like mutated his own dream recall memory thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would they make a memory for him that's like, hey, you're a spy, and it's like you start, and the memory starts in the recall office, and you
Of
have to
them fucking
escape
up.
of them blowing it. Yeah,
Well,
right. Because you're not supposed to remember them at all.
I know, but like to me, that's what makes it the most real. Is that it's an accident and this is not supposed to happen. That would make the memory itself more real, I think, to him. I don't know.
But
It's not like full.
But I agree.
Alright, interesting.
Part of what convinces me too is that in that scene when they're like asking for details and stuff, like some of the images that flash behind them
Yeah.
are like set designs for shit you're gonna
You're
see
going to
later.
see later.
And he literally says blue skies on Mars.
Yeah,
He
that's
literally
true.
said.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's crazy.
Hey, I don't know.
Run it back, baby.
We'll see. Maybe.
But then again, maybe he's been watching documentaries about
True.
Mars.
Right, he just knows he already had the dream
Or
of the woman before.
it could also
so-
be going back to the book, in which case, like, all of this shit that's made up, he actually did happen to him.
Right.
Like, it could be that, too. I'll give you that.
It could be that. All right. Anyways, well, we'll keep going. They do put him in a cab. They put him in a Johnny cab, and who takes him home. And then his buddy from work turns out to be a spy agent guy, and they
Minder.
Oh right, yeah. And they take him, and then he kills them all. Him and like 4 other guys, and then he goes
he,
home.
like, murks his friend, like,
real bad.
immediately.
Yeah, steps on his neck.
It's
until
like,
it
oh, my
snaps.
God, just,
Your
knock
poor
him out,
buddy.
dude.
Your
Like,
poor
yeah,
buddy.
what
The
the fuck?
cracking sound was.
That's a lot. He's
Yeah, and he
killing-
just picks up the other guy by his neck and just pops out.
Bang,
It's like,
boom,
Jesus.
killing, shooting people.
Yeah.
So then he goes home. Sharon Stone, iconic workout outfit. She's learning how to play tennis virtually, kind of like that mirror. Anyways, never mind. That's a real thing now.
Yeah.
For
Pose is what
Pose. Yeah, Verhoeven call in the future again. But anyways, he's like, honey, it's real. Look, I killed these guys. There's blood all over my hands.
Yeah.
And that's where we start to realize that she's in on it because she's like trying to keep him there.
Just got to call up old Michael Ironside.
Ironside.
Just doing the Lord's work in this movie.
Rough Riders or the Roughnecks. Sorry, excuse me, the Roughnecks.
Rico's Roughnecks.
Rico's Roughnecks. Oh,
Yeah.
the greatest. So then they come to get him.
Yeah.
Then he escapes. He like knocks
I
her out.
will say one thing because I'm the only one that watched the other
please.
remake.
Yeah.
What they do is they merge Michael Ironside's character with Sharon Stone's character in the new remake. So his wife is like continually coming for him.
She's the one
She's
who's hunting him
basically
the
the
whole time.
Terminator, and she is hunting him the whole time.
And that's Beckinsale in the movie.
Yeah,
I
and
love that.
her scenes are kind of amazing.
Like
the
had
fight-
my interest.
Yeah.
Now you have my curiosity. Well, you had my curiosity. Now you have my interest.
Yeah, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's got some interesting ideas. Merging those two characters, I think, was kind of a neat idea.
That's good. That's a very good idea. Yeah.
They get rid of Mars and replace it with fucking, God damn it. There's like Great Britain, and on the other side, the colony, which is like the third world. No, it's. I think the shape is Australia, but I'm not entirely sure because it like flashes
Wait.
Very brief. It's weird.
So the 2012 film, in hopes of
Basically,
improving
yes.
on the 1990 version,
Yeah.
instead of setting it on Mars,
Yes.
sets it
It's
on Earth.
It's on Earth of two continents, basically opposite ends of the world, and they travel through the fall, which just literally goes through the center of the Earth to the other side.
Oh, I remember that.
It's a wild choice. It's like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah, it's like an elevator through the earth.
That
Right?
Yes.
That's so dumb.
It's weird.
dumb.
I think it's only to facilitate a gravity fight scene at the end. I think that's the whole point of that.
Can also
shit.
do that in space.
Yeah, he could. You could. I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Don't know if you needed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Anyways, back to the original.
Yeah, look.
I just wanted to say I thought that was a cool idea merging the two.
That is a
Yeah.
cool idea. I mean, Sharon Stone is fucking awesome in this movie. She's
Like
so
one of her
good.
is it for her first role or one of her first roles?
No, because she was in like a Wes Craven movie, like one of the Wes Craven movies nobody remembers, and
It's one of her first like bigger roles,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Because
she was in Police Academy 4.
Ah,
I definitely saw that as like a 6-year-old.
is that when they go to Moscow? Which one's that?
I think 4 is maybe Citizens on Patrol.
Maybe or something.
CAP.
All right,
CAP.
so
Oh,
Ironside comes for him with the bad guy nerd.
Yeah. And he has to wrap a wet towel around his head.
Well, no, that's
oh
not
yes,
yet.
that's later. That's later.
That's
Excuse
later,
me,
that's
yeah. Well, but do you want to just take over? This is your movie.
I'm going to take over
Take
because
over,
I
bro.
don't
Do
like
it,
that.
Buzzy. It's your movie, baby.
Bad
You
guy
know it
nerd.
best. You know it
He
best.
leaves with the bad guy nerd. They're chasing him, so he has a tracker. They can track him. He evades them. He rips a Johnny cab out and drives himself with the joystick, which was cool.
That was cool.
And he essentially he finds like a hotel room, and then he gets a call from someone who claims to have known him back when he was an agent, and it says, "Wrap a wet towel around your head."
It muffles the
It
signal.
muffles the signal. And
You'll
come
look
grab
great.
this briefcase. I'm going to leave right here for you.
2 interesting details in that scene. One is that the actor is anyone would recognize, and
No.
he never comes back. And the other is that in the like 5 seconds it takes him to get to the briefcase, like a lady
old-
walks by and is like, "Oh, my briefcase,"
And he's like, no. And when he finally rips it out of
Yeah.
her hand, she goes, "Fuck you!" And it's just like an
And
old
also,
lady
he
screaming.
struggles getting that case from her.
Yeah.
It's like, what was all that jackhammering for?
Yeah, I know, dude.
So
She really
anyway,
wanted that case.
he flees again, and he opens the briefcase and gets a message from himself, essentially saying, "I'm you. If you're reading this, that means we're in trouble.
Yeah.
You need to get to Mars. Here's how you take the tracker.
"Get your ass to Mars."
Get your ass to
to
Mars.
Mars.
Here's how you get the tracker out of your head. Get to Mars, do this, and await further instructions,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And then, so he follows those instructions. Upon arriving in Mars, somehow he's in a fat lady costume,
Right.
which is never explained.
Never explained.
And
Also-
they
also-
keep the butt when he takes off the mask. Like he still has the
Yes.
big lady butt when
It's a
he's
very
running
cool
away, which
scene.
is great.
And
Unless he's just caked up. I don't
he's
know.
he's almost caught. The fat lady mask is like an explosive. He's almost caught by Ironside and Mark Alimo. Mess up his name. The guy who plays that kind of like Green
Gul
Beret guy.
Dukat
Right? Yeah,
from-
he's got the
Mark.
That's also a Star Trek dude.
He's a Star Trek dude. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Gul Dukat.
Great role.
I'll take
Great
credit for
role.
that one.
Deep Space Nine, baby.
Oh, okay.
The best Star Trek.
Which also sets up, because Ironside, once he realizes the lady is Schwarzenegger, shoots at him and punctures the dome.
Right, which sets up the stakes of the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a very good.
But also, like, why do you all have guns? Like,
Why do you have guns?
I see
Right.
the importance of screening to make sure no one does. But
why
why
do
do
you?
all of you have
Yeah.
guns?
Yeah.
So
question.
in the chaos, he escapes. He gets to the Hilton and sees for a good time, call Melina on the back of like a flyer for essentially a brothel.
It's in his safety deposit box.
It's
that
in
he
a
had there.
safety deposit box. They make a big deal out of, I just want to say this, him like not knowing to put his thumbprint
Yeah.
down for the safety deposit box.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time I like forgot to put my card in at checkout,
Yeah.
I don't have like a stare down with
Yeah.
the cashier.
Yeah.
They're not like, "Are you really you?" Because
yeah.
you don't know how to
I
operate.
have another interjection in the other remake. They have a very similar scene, but instead of a thumbprint, it's a signature, and he doesn't know his full name, so he's like kind of hesitating and like freaking out because he doesn't know his like real name. And then the guy was like, "Is there a problem, Mr. Reed?" And he's like, No, never mind. I'm good. And he like signs it.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a neat story.
I also really liked in the.
There's some good shit in it, bro.
I really remember the part. So he's got this "For a Good Time, Call Melina" written on the back of this, and he asks for a marker and he writes Melina's name, and it's his same handwriting.
Yeah.
So he gets okay. This is a note to me. He goes outside, gets Benny the cab driver to take him to the bad part of Mars.
The redder part of Mars, the redder light district.
Yeah.
Section G, I want to say. Section
Something
G,
like
I think
that.
that's what they call it. When he's like, everyone in Section G is going to run out of oxygen. He's like, fuck them.
Oh, dude, I was just about to say that. He's like,
So-
what do you want me to do, sir? I don't know. Fuck him.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he gets there. There's a bunch of
Dude,
mutant-
that's so true.
There's a bunch.
We
of
are in that
mutant
reality.
people. We find out that some of the mutants have telepathic abilities.
Yeah.
He meets Melina.
And the premise is that, like, in the early days of building protective domes, they kind of fucked up, and it's like,
The
mutants-
radiation.
Which
radiation
again,
causes-
like, ton of Philip K. Dick stories with that shit in it. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take back over?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, everything on Mars is fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell. It's
We
awesome.
also got Hank from Breaking Bad as
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
the main
Tony.
tough Tony. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Who's got kind of a toxic Avenger look?
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, it's
I-
totally a toxic.
But it is
Toxie.
funny that, like, his jaw and, like, one eyeball is so noticeable that I was like, oh, shit, it's Hank from Breaking Bad.
Hank.
My girlfriend was like, are you sure? I was like, I'm going to look it up and prove it. And it
Positive.
was.
I'm going to get some of Schrader's.
Also in Star Trek Troopers, he uses
he
a
is.
lot of the same people. You know.
He really does. Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
good in that one scene in Star Trek where he's like, I gave my life to the, and he like
Oh,
realized
yeah.
he lost his legs. Fucking good movie.
It's a great movie. We should do that at some
So
point,
you have-
honestly.
Yeah.
He and Melina connect.
Yeah, him and so he connects with her, and then they kind of like
That's when you see the woman with 3 breasts.
that. Of course,
which they did in the remake too, right?
Yeah, but in a very kind of tacky way.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
This was
the
so
original
tasteful.
one's not
Are
tacky.
they,
This was so
are they,
tasteful.
are they
I mean, yes.
CG?
Yeah.
Are they CG boobs in the?
They look very real. No, it's like there's no mutants in this one. So he's just in the red district. They replace it with like cyborgs and androids and shit. But she's just like, oh, you can get anything here. And she's like, look at me. I got 3 breasts. And he's like, cool. No thanks, though. And it's like, okay. It's like callback for no reason. Like, it makes no sense
Right.
in the context of that reality because there's no mutants or anything.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Which again, why? But okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Continue. So
just
he and
fan
Melina
service.
catch back up.
They connect. Basically, by the end of it, her being very demure but also wanton was like, oh, let's come back up to my room. But then she's like, actually, no, you're a jerk. I don't want you to. You forgot about me. How do I even know?
Well,
why
I thought
you
your
back?
ass was dead.
I thought you
Yeah.
were dead, but then now you're back. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. She
You're
hits him
fucking
and
married?
gets. Oh, right, yeah. She's pissed that he's married. Every woman in this is like, you didn't tell me you're married.
And it's like, bro, there's other things going on.
So
Oh, well,
crazy.
that's also like
International- there's
a running
intergalactic
thing
espionage.
is literally every woman like eye fucks Schwarzenegger
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
Every time there's a chance for him to walk past a woman and her to go,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yes, and they're all mad that you were married this whole time while we
Yeah,
were doing
they're
intergalactic
pretty
espionage
pissed about it.
rebellion shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, she kicks him out, and then he goes back to his hotel. That's when the guy from Recall comes, and then he has to basically is like, right, you're having your schizophrenic embolism. You've taken control of this, so it's all you running it. If you keep doing this, you're going to end up just fucking brain dead back on Earth.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, how do I believe you? He's like, go behind that door. Sharon Stone comes in. Then he sees the guy sweat, so he said, I'm going to murk this guy. I'm going to
Yeah.
kill
He's
him.
like, if this is a dream, why are you sweating?
Yeah.
Which, like, if this is a dream, why a lot of things?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
But it's like a
because in theory, I guess
it's a
you'd be nervous.
fantasy that he's actively engaging in, so it's
Right.
kind of not the same as a dream. He's like
Yeah,
actively.
he's,
It's like an infinite, like
Yeah.
you
What
know.
is that thing where you take over your dream? Like you can
Lucid
stuck in the
dreaming?
Lucid dreaming.
holodeck.
He's
He's
lucid.
stuck in the holodeck.
Yeah, he's
stuck
lucid
in-
dreaming basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuck in the-
stuck in the.
And then, like, yeah,
You
the,
too.
The thing that gives the
There's that
impression-
great Voyager episode with Michael McKean where they're like stuck. These people are like in a shared dream kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it turns into a nightmare, and they're being tortured by Michael McKean.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It's a really weird.
Yeah.
It's a Voyager episode that feels like an original series
Yeah.
episode.
Okay.
Isn't it the one where the one guy wants to be like Sherlock Holmes? I saw that one once.
There's a couple of
Sir
those.
Patrick Stewart.
No,
Does he do it?
no,
it's
Data.
Data, right? Yeah, it's Data.
Oh,
Brent-
it is Data.
Sir
It is
Brent
Data.
Spiner.
Yeah. Wow.
Venus data. You're right.
Do not start.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Should we read a Sherlock Holmes story and then do the Star Trek episode where Data plays Sherlock Holmes?
Wow.
I'd be down. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right, so he's like you're sweating, so I don't
I'm gonna
believe
blow you
I want to
away.
say we skipped an important
yes.
point, which goes for me against you,
Sure.
against you,
Okay.
point, which is when Cohagen and Ironside. Do we ever know his name?
It's Richter.
Yeah, see you at the party, Richter.
Yeah.
When the
yeah,
two
exactly.
of them sit down and Ronnie says, "I'm taking over this. I have a plan, but you've got to play ball."
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me feel like, okay, our plan is to kind of like let him lead us to
Quado.
Yeah.
and like kind of convince him of his whatever's going on.
Yeah, which is a much stronger motivation to keep him alive than what is in the short story of like, we just admire this guy. He did a good work, so erase his memory, but make sure he stays alive.
But also Ironside is just kind of like, I really just want to kill him anyways.
Well, because Michael Ironside and Sharon Stone are romantically involved in this film.
It's quote-unquote his old lady.
Planted, exactly. If he was porking my old lady. Yikes,
he's like, you think so?
You think were you saying she liked it?
Yeah. It's like
so much stupid dialogue.
Well, and also, I made note, like when she calls Ironside up to the room, he's drinking a pink, like it looks like strawberry milk. Like that's the thing. He's like passing time, just drinking some strawberry milk.
It's a hard milk, dude. Yeah.
Hard. They have hard milk in the future. Hard
So then
carbonated milk.
he escapes.
So he escapes. Well, so that and then like guys busting through the wall. He's able to fight them off. Oh no, they don't. He doesn't fight them off.
But I just to go back to the guy sweating. Is like, I know he uses that as a tell, but he tells him that literally everything that happens is his brain making it happen. And he does not want to break from this, so he's looking for any excuse to not believe this guy and continue with his like life-fulfilling fantasy. Yeah. So I think you could take it either way, but I kind of take it as like his brain is like, I'll kill this guy.
Yeah.
He's trying to get you out of here, buddy. We're having a good time.
Next time we're having a good time. Keep riding the ride.
Ride the lightning, pal.
I will say, also just the corporate sponsorship stuff, it was like on Earth, in like the nice part of town, there was like a giant Coca-Cola sign.
Yeah.
And then on Mars is like a Pepsi planet.
So
they only
rude.
have Pepsi signs.
So rude.
I was like, man, that's kind of, I don't know if that's supposed to be good or bad, but I mean, for me, I think I'd stay on Earth. I'm more like a Coke product guy.
Mars definitely feels like a combination Pizza Hut, Taco Bell kind of.
Yeah. They're just getting by.
Yeah, just
So
so he's beat up. No, please, you.
No.
Oh, no? All right, okay. He's beat up. They're going to take him back down. Sharon Stone's like, hey, get up here. You know, we got him. And he's like, take the service elevator. Service elevator comes up to that floor. Melina's there. Boom. She starts mowing people down with a machine gun. It's sick. She frees Schwarzenegger. There's an awesome fight with her and Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
Awesome fight.
Yeah.
Then,
I don't disagree. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
of course. It is a
pretty awesome fight.
You should see some of the Kate Beckinsale ones.
Okay.
Well, and then they have like he and Sharon Stone have the standoff that leads to one of the many other famous quotes.
Well, because part of an amazing Sharon Stone performance, she like immediately flips back to being like, "Oh, hey, honey, what's wrong? Like, I'm your wife. I love you." And then he's like, "Consider it a divorce."
Yeah.
Boom. And then the movie was over. I blacked out. That was all I remember. It was so good. I laughed so hard. I woke up in the hospital. And that was it.
But also, it's funny because like Melina is tangled up with Sharon Stone's corpse and is like, "That was your wife? What a bitch!"
Yeah.
They use that a lot in this. There's also a moment where the doctor is saying to like the tech when they're putting.
Oh yeah, he calls her like a dumb bitch.
You dumb bitch.
Yeah, it's like, holy god damn,
Christ,
dude. Yeah,
that's not okay in the workplace.
She
in the
works
future.
for you, man.
That is not how you treat a coworker.
Yeah, he's at best a salesman, and she's like a fucking doctor or some sort of expert, and he's calling her a dumb bitch. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Crazy. I like Recall got to work on their HR department.
Yeah, seriously.
They need to figure this out. Anyway, so then him and Melina escape. They go back to they're
Venusville.
Venusville. That's exactly where they go. And they like run in. They're being chased by Ironside. It's like Benny gets them there, and they all run into like a secret passage. And then that's when our three-breasted heroine is chopped down by Michael Ironside cruelly. Because she's like, I don't know who you're talking about, and he just shoots her in the back, and then they start just killing everybody.
Yeah, he says kill them all. He literally says kill them all.
Yeah, well, there's also the earlier with Ironside when he just starts opening fire on the escalator.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so many bystanders.
Bullets are just flying all over the time. So anyways, they like kind of fight him off. Rodney Cox is like, hey, don't worry about it. They're going to lead us right to where they want to go. Yeah. Get out of there. Pull your guys out of there. So they're going on like a journey to the bottom of the earth. They find like through the early settlers, which is a really cool detail. Like the bodies of all the people who like first settled Mars.
They
and, like,
just left them in the fucking caves. Yeah,
they're like catacombs, but like not really.
And there's also like alien guys down there. Right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
no. I thought they were finding
like
alien.
They're like alien artifacts.
That's in the like mountain.
Pyramid.
The pyramid.
Mine.
I think as a whole, like it's a rumor for everyone because it's so tightly like.
Right, the guy in the train when he gets to Mars is like, I used to work in there until they found those alien artifacts or whatever.
He's like, you really believe that?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So anyways, they go through the catacombs. They find the like resistance movement in Quato, who is revealed to be
the man within the man.
A man within a man.
And you saw him hanging out with Tony when we first got to the bar and see Melina.
That's right.
It's like he's been there the whole time.
Quato moves among them, which they don't know what Quato is.
Yeah.
And we find out.
Yeah, I like how he like warns him. He's like, "Gotta warn you."
Yeah. It's gonna be a little freaky, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna
and then he turns and he's just like, oh God.
The Quato character made such a huge impression.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's incredible.
Well,
absolutely.
I didn't know until listening to the Lonely Island podcast that like Andy Samberg did a series of sketches of Quatos. Are you aware of those?
No.
Apparently, like, there's one that I watched
where everybody has their own Quato. Quatos hang out and have a bros trip, and we're just
Quato beach party.
Yeah,
Quato
beach
thing
party.
That's funny is that like in the sketch, like Samberg just refers to everyone as Quaid.
That's good.
And it's like you would need to know that Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from this film is named Quaid, but it doesn't matter. They just goes like, "Well, Quaid, anyhow."
Quato's eye.
Yeah.
Milked out.
Classic milked out eye.
Yeah, he's hitting the oxy hard, Quato. You know, he's unconscious for most of his life.
It does seem
he's
like
gotta hit a little something.
You're just under some guy's shirt all the time.
All the time.
It's his little baby teeth.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy.
It's crazy stuff.
I was also wondering, like, because they say that like no one knows who he is, but like clearly this guy is like always at these meetings. Like he would not be a suspect. Like, does Quato move from body to body, or is he always in that guy? That was my question.
He's got to be.
Right?
But also, like, yeah, you're right. Like, it seems like this host guy certainly seems to be, like, if not the leader, like...
Yeah, because then Arnold's like, oh, so you're him, right? And he's like, no.
Figure of the,
no, actually.
I kind of am.
No, sort of.
It's a story. How do I describe this?
Shut up. You didn't guess it. No.
So Quato tries to unlock his memory.
That's what, yes. Yeah.
Get in his head and help.
Because that's the whole thing is that Hauser knows something that Cohen doesn't want anyone to know.
Oh, yeah, we missed that part.
Right, okay, yeah. Wait, right. Hauser. Wait, which?
Where it's like the video of Hauser, right? That hasn't happened yet.
No, I think
later, right?
No,
later.
But at some point it comes to him as like, you learn something by being fake friends with Cohen that he doesn't want us to know now.
Right, he doesn't
but
want you
Quato
to know.
knows that if he mind melds with you, he's going to get that shit
back.
Like the info we need to know.
Yeah.
Right.
And the info is that there's like rods of air that they can release. And
it's a meltdown reactor, actually.
Yeah,
it's the core of Mars.
Oh my God! Did you really call it rods of air? Come on,
dude!
You release the air from the ice core
I
of
thought
Mars.
it was actually like
pretty
turning the ice.
described.
It was turning the ice into water, and then through reaction, then separating the hydrogen and oxygen to create an air atmosphere.
Oh, groovy. All right. I thought it was just rods of air.
No, man.
No, it's so much more than that.
Rods. Get that.
But when he would think it was Benny the cab driver.
When do we get the video of Hauser and Cohagen being best friends?
Oh, you're right. So they burst
shortly after
in,
this, because
right.
they burst. Yeah,
They burst in, they kill Quado, they kill most of the people, and then they bring him back to Cohagen's office, and then that's when they show him the video.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
after Ironside has made a point, they've shot the
kill
guy
Quado.
9 times. They to shoot Quado in the head.
Just domes him.
Mutant baby gotta go.
He had a real Chucky vibe too.
Yeah, it's unavoidable. He's a mutant child looking thing, you know. Yeah.
And what was Quado's last words?
Start the reactor.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good job.
I thought it was start the rods of air, but okay.
I don't know. That was
Begin
sketchy,
the starting of the rods of air. It's his actual
Rods
last
of Air
words.
sounds like a terrible fantasy, 8-book fantasy series.
Yeah.
Rods of Air.
The 8 clans of rods of air.
Rods of air, the courts of rods and
The
air.
courts of rods.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's coming to the shelves next fall.
Yeah.
So, they go back. Hauser was like, I was in on this the whole time. This was my whole idea that I'd come
And I'd
back
like
as a
my
new
body
guy.
back.
Yeah.
I will give me my body back.
That's
and
my
they're like,
body you're in.
which, that's my, Yeah, you like that one. That was a good one. You say it good. Then
That video is insane, by the way.
Video's crazy.
It's like they're having a good time in that
Yeah.
video.
They're
It's
partying.
like-
Smoking cigars, right?
Yeah, basically smoking big cigars, and we're having a blast.
and it's like, what a
like,
dick thing to
sorry,
send to yourself. You know?
Sorry, I duped me
Yeah.
into doing this thing, but
You're being told that you don't exist.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in that moment, that's
Right.
a tough pill to swallow.
It is basically, we
That's
made
kind of
you
a tough
this
one.
noble loser.
Yeah.
You suck.
Yeah. And I can't believe you made it, you fucking
You
idiot.
bought that the whole time when we edited your brain?
Yeah.
Stupid. So then they're going to go back and re-edit him and then make Melina his, loyal wife, which is real gross, too.
Real
Yeah.
super gross.
And then, because he's so good at jackhammering, he's super jacked and he can just rip that arm right out of there.
Another interjection.
Yep,
You know the character that tells him to go to Mars and shit in the original that never appears again?
Oh, yeah.
The guy in the remake, he does appear again in this moment, and he actually unlatches him, helps him escape during the scene.
Kinky.
But then dies immediately. So it's so in this one, he doesn't work for the bad guys, maybe. It's weird. It's weird.
It's like a triple agent.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's almost like that movie probably doesn't work.
It kind of does.
Okay,
because it's just doing this movie,
Yeah, I
but
guess.
with a hole through the center of the earth. I don't know, man. You can see it for Kate
So he
Beckinsale.
escapes. He rips
escapes.
himself out. He jackhammers.
And he he literally basically
he stabs it
jackhammers
through the fucking
through a
guy's eye.
neck
Jesus,
and eye.
dude.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
This
I
movie
love
is so
Verhoeven's,
violent. It's
he's
awesome.
always violent. love
They
it.
escape from there, and then they have to go to the reactor to start the ancient tech while being chased by the other people.
And using the cool mirror.
The hologram.
The hologram.
watch
Which
that
I
he
don't
got.
know how that shit works, but it is a cool scene.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be
what's the
literally a
fulcrum?
reflection of him.
Right.
But then sometimes it's going around
just be wherever
corners.
it
It could just do whatever it wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you think I'm the real Quaid? I am.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Good
scene,
shit. They make
And they
it.
keep passing it between each other, which is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
a fun
that was
idea.
super
cool.
fun.
It was like Magic Johnson in the 80s, just assisting that ball around.
In rhythm. In rhythm.
Oh, boom.
And as far as setup and payoff, it's so nice because he gets the hologram watch when he gets the first video message from himself, and then an hour passes,
Yeah.
so you have plenty of time to forget it, and then you're like, oh right, the fucking hologram.
watch, yeah.
Chekhov's
It's really-
hologram watch.
It was
yeah.
really. Yeah, it was good.
And then
They go up the big elevator.
turns on the
Richter
reactor.
gets his.
Oh, and
arms
while
ripped
this
off.
is going on, Ronnie Cox is turning off the air.
Oh yes, right. It
Yeah.
becomes the real ticking clock, the suffocation clock.
Yeah.
He's gonna let all the
For
section
no
G
reason,
die.
just to teach him a lesson, I guess.
Yeah, which is super cool. When all the fans stop, that's a really great.
And they all
moment.
look.
They're
Yeah,
like,
it's a
"Oh,
very
shit, no."
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, they're only going to have an hour left. And they're like, oh, we got to turn those back on. It's like, no, if we turn on the reactor, if we turn on those rods of air, they're going to go to the people. And then that's what he does. They go.
I also like, too, that they're just like, just in case, like, our audience doesn't care about a bunch of lowlifes and sex workers dying, there's also one sweet psychic mutant
She's
girl.
a little mutant girl.
You got to make sure she doesn't die. Come on.
Who knew his sign.
His
Yes.
aura,
Mhm.
right?
He's a Taurus.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Taurus.
Okay, I thought it was something with auras too. Whatever, doesn't matter.
You're just real tapped in on auras and
Yeah,
things.
generally speaking.
Generally speaking, yeah. So then, he goes.
I
and
see
then,
auras.
Right. Ronnie Cox shows up there. Cohagen shows up there, and then he gets sucked out. Like he gets sucked out onto Mars when they turn on the reactor, and then we watch his face explode.
Yeah, it's a pretty gruesome death.
It goes
man.
on for so long.
It's so
on for a long
fucking
time.
long.
Well, that's the thing too, is because like they start the reactor and and our two heroes, Melina and Quaid, get sucked out, and their eyes are bulging for so
Yeah,
long.
their faces are melting.
It really feels like their eyes shouldn't be able to go back in their head.
And basically,
when they
the
do.
reactor makes enough air just in time.
Oh,
for
it's
them
an
to not-
instant atmosphere, which is
Yeah.
insane, but like whatever. It's the 90s, so, whatever.
It is interesting.
If this is all in Quaid's mind, why do you think he would imagine himself as like the part where Hauser's like, "You're a bad guy"?
I don't know. I don't think we know enough about his life.
Yeah, who's writing these recall?
Well, the story is that like
I
he
guess
is.
he takes over,
He
right?
takes
Okay,
over.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But I'm saying,
But in both movies, they make a point of being like, these are options to make it seem like this is actually
I
happening.
guess what I was asking is like, how do I get a job writing recalls for people?
Seems like anything goes.
Because
Yeah.
is it like a freelance thing? Do you have to be union?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Because like it's pretty good. Like
Nah,
there's a lot
it
of
doesn't
planting
seem
and
very
payoff.
union,
Like
yeah.
I feel like it works out.
your boss is going to berate you.
Yeah, you're gonna yell at
So
you.
yeah,
a lot.
and then at the
Call
end,
you a stupid bitch.
and then at the
Jesus.
end, they win.
They win. They create an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Ronnie Cox is dead, which means like the oligarch of Mars is dead.
Yeah.
They have an atmosphere on Mars, which is cool as hell. And
Yeah.
then he's like, "What if it was all a dream?" And she's like, "Then kiss me before you wake up." Movie's
Boom.
over. Hammer.
Done.
Yeah.
Great.
Fade to white?
Fade to
Yeah.
what?
Question mark?
Yeah, it's brain death right there, buddy. Brain death.
He was
Or waking up.
right.
Or waking up.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
it
just
could
going
be
to
a
sleep.
successful thing. I think in the remake, they in that moment, basically when he gets the injection for the memories, because they're chemical in that movie for some reason.
Sure.
There's like a little like tattoo she put on his hand to like align with the needle, and in that moment he takes off the bandage and it's not there because all of this is fake. That's what I assume that means. And so he's kind of just like, fuck, this is really good, and like kisses her anyways. Like it's kind of, that's how I
Got
interpret
it.
that moment.
Got it.
But yeah, so he could be waking up or brain death. It ultimately doesn't matter because he had a great time.
or it's just the end of the movie.
Yeah, or it's just the end of the movie.
He's ascending into like the white light of a wife who loves him. you know?
Yeah,
Aw.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
or God is taking him up and being like, dude, that was fucking awesome.
That was
Yeah,
give me
just-
some, bro.
That was crazy,
sick.
dude.
Yeah, just
I
like-
did not plan for any of that. Yeah.
Free will is real.
Free
Okay.
will exists.
Yeah, just like my favorite movie, Brazil. Love conquers all, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super happy.
My favorite 90-minute movie, Brazil.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yep.
Here's my receipt. Here's your receipt for your husband, and here's my receipt for your receipt.
God, it's so good. I wish Terry Gilliam wasn't Terry Gilliam, but that movie is so good.
Yeah.
All right. So like many people have asked me going into this episode, like, what are you going to pick? I am still at the point, I don't know which I think is better. Because I think, obviously, for me, the film has such a nostalgia quality.
Yeah.
And the story, I listened to the audiobook a few times of the story because I was just like, what?
What's that now?
So it's really kind of like lived in my head.
Blue
for a
breast,
few-
you say? Gotta listen to
And
that
she
again.
wears that to work?
Okay,
Yeah,
Philip K.
I've
Dick.
just-
All right.
I've just been picturing these globular melon-like breasts for days. No,
I do not condone any of the conversation.
fair. So it's really been living in my head. So I say this as preface because I really want you guys to talk me through this, and I want you to be persuasive in what you think is better. So,
Oh, it's the movie, bro.
but we'll
You want me to go first?
We'll go in the usual order. Let's start with Buzzy.
So I think the story is mostly concept. And it's like good, cool concept, but it's not like narratively. I didn't feel terribly compelled, drawn in. There's like not a lot of characterization.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like, it's not like, a lot of times in a short story, part of what's exciting is like you want more, and that's like what you get. So you get to kind of explore. I didn't know that I really wanted more. Like I was like, oh, I got it. He kind of like, it felt like his way of teasing out an idea about, memory erasure and all that stuff. And the movie, while maybe having flaws, is like kind of the opposite. Like they kind of don't care a little bit about the concept.
I think they are the opposite.
It's like I don't
as
really,
an adaptation, it's kind of wild. It takes a general idea and it's like
it's
it
like
just goes
we don't
the
really
opposite
care
direction.
about that playing with memory stuff.
Yeah.
But let's use like the idea of like some dude waking up to being being a secret agent is kind of fun, and so I
sort of like the soul sense of the self. They kind of fall into that a little bit more.
So I choose the movie. I prefer the movie.
Okay.
I would recommend this film to people if they haven't seen it,
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy. I don't feel the need to like recommend the story to people. Is that could be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good rubric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably go with the movie as well. I really like the short story. It's just like very short and sweet and to the point. It's like punchy. There's like a great payoff, I guess, at the end where you're like, oh, I guess he's just this guy. He's the alien Jesus who's saving
to me,
Earth.
it's kind of like a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits
It
episode.
would make a great Twilight Zone episode.
Because it's kind of smirking with that ending.
Very much.
But again,
I
Verhoeven
read
is like,
that
what
ending
if we
differently.
brought violence?
Yeah, right. Well, and that's maybe I took it all at face value. But maybe
I think to
like
me,
I
it's,
almost read
the book is
I almost
face
read
value.
it as like, oh, we went in there
Yeah.
and found out he's actually a spy, which was his dream.
Right.
And now we're going in to implant this other thing, and then he's realizing that other thing is real. Like it's sort of this.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the
I
technique
will
works.
say they also tell him about it before they do it, so that does kind of give you credit that like it is like an infinite loop because they keep fucking telling him what they're going to do.
Right.
So then, if you're going under, then why
yeah.
wouldn't you just say that back to them?
Exactly.
And especially if it
So I could
ensures your
see that.
long life.
But I think it just feels
I don't know.
very straightforward to me. I can't quite put a finger on it. I just feel like the movies are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
In that way.
It's just a very strong, like you say, it's a very strong concept. It's
Yeah.
a great premise that you can absolutely expand. And like when you have someone like Dan O'Bannon, who's like a tremendous sci-fi writer, like it helps to like that he's the guy who's going to tease it out to put all this great shit on Mars.
Yeah,
like
of the Philip K. Dick adaptations, one of the actual good ones. So
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
awesome.
ton of shit ones. So
It's fantastic. I mean, and it's cool. Like
Not
also,
a Skinner Darkly fan.
I haven't seen that in so long.
Minority
I read
Report's,
that book, too.
Minority Report's really good.
Minority Report rules.
That movie's amazing.
But
Apparently
it's not really. What I mean is like they're great movies, but they're shitty adaptations.
In terms of
They don't
adaptation.
even come close. This is the one that comes.
There was an
pretty close.
idea of doing I read a sequel to Total Recall, which was going to pull in it was going to be basically Minority Report, but in the Total Recall universe.
So weird.
Oh,
There's like a Total
now
Recall
I'm sad that
TV
doesn't
show
exist.
in
That's
the 90s,
really
I think.
that's cool. That'd have been really fucking cool. Where Quaid's just becomes a cop who's like for the memory police.
Yeah.
Damn, that'd have been fun.
I think that's what the show is.
Oh, okay.
If memory serves, I don't know. I don't
If-
barely remember.
You can't trust your memory.
Maybe become a future.
Did that
police, I
happen?
guess.
Did that
Yes, yeah.
exist?
Well, I guess also just in terms of an adaptation, like it's a lot of really great people. It's cool that like you can see the people layering their stuff on top of it, where it's like, okay, so this is like the Dan O'Bannon alien corporate stuff or just like also really cool sci-fi.
Cronenberg comes in the room, put a freak baby in his
Put
chest.
a baby in a man's chest.
Freak,
and
and
do a bunch of mutant
Hey, you know what?
shit.
You know what?
Call
He's
him
got a
Quado.
comb over too. He's got a really bad comb over,
tiny comb
and he's
over.
greasy. He's always greasy.
His eyes are milked out, as we've
Like
established.
Cronenberg get drunk, and he's like, "I'm not done."
It's cool. You're gonna
Everyone
love
in
it.
this red light district look like
They
freaks.
got a bunch of shit on their face. I mean, the practical effects in this are incredible. All
Also,
of
he
that stuff.
divorces her by shooting her in the head.
Consider it a divorce. Boom. Well,
Yeah, a
which
lot
I was
of,
gonna say,
a lot of sci-fi filmmakers have issues with women. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
what.
weird.
who would have thunk that?
Shocking.
Which
The
I feel
Brood.
like
Anyhow,
that kind of stuff is like the Arnold layer, and then you have like the Verhoeven layer, which is like
Yeah.
again it all being sort of in quotes or so it's like it's very cool in terms of adaptation to see like all the extra stuff that everybody else brought to this story. So in that way, I would recommend the movie.
Yeah.
Boom.
Having read the most Philip K. Dick and being generally a fan, it's the movie all day, all fucking day. The movie's perfect, baby.
I think
really good.
you guys have done it. Like, yeah, it's clearly going to be the movie because I agree. I think that's the one I would recommend.
Yeah.
Is like you've never seen Total Recall? Are you fucking insane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like I've read I don't read a ton of sci-fi, but like I've read some. I read Ted Chiang's recent collection, and it's like you can do high concept like what if like
Yeah.
or explore a concept without sacrificing a compelling story.
Yeah.
But this story, I feel like kind of did.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that you
What-
saying the Twilight Zone thing is kind of right. Like it seems
Yeah.
like it is fitting into that. Like
Yeah, Venus is already here. That's my favorite
Yeah.
Twilight Zone. Do you know that one?
I don't know.
They're like at some diner or something, and someone's like, they're hearing about like Mars invading, and everyone's freaked out, and they're like, blah, 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 and then it turns out like one of the guys there, well, Mars is invading, and he like reveals some weird physical thing.
Yeah.
And then like the guy who's been working in the shop the whole time like takes off his little worker hat, and he's got like another eye. He's like, Venus is already here. Like, sorry.
No, that's good. I don't know if you. I guess maybe we all relate. I always like the one where the guy breaks his glasses because he just wants to read at the end.
Oh, that's
but
a
he
good
can't.
one. Oh, yeah.
That's,
Oh,
as
no.
a glasses wearer, that
Simply
always,
not fair.
There was
it's always
finally
like, that's-
time.
There was only time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good episodes.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think
4-0
that
sweep.
I think
Yeah.
once again we are a great bookstore podcast that tells you don't read books, go with the movies. They're always better. No, just kidding.
Well, I will say I've talked about other ideas, and you're like, oh, that movie's terrible.
Wait, which movie?
Well, like we talked about like Spiderhead. We talked about.
Yeah.
But there are other. I mean, I'm just saying. When we on our group chat, which I still have not put any of your names in the group chat.
Classic.
In the group chat, like it's like, oh, that movie's unbearable. So of course we're gonna pick fabulous movies, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be hard to beat. It's kind of stacked.
Well, sometimes we pick Polar
Yeah.
Express.
When it's that is true. We do that. Well,
Okay.
usually when it's someone saying that movie's unbearable, you can pretty much. It's probably Alan.
I didn't
You don't
say
have to
that.
know
I've never
his
seen
No,
Spiderhead.
actually, that one was me. I think that might be an interesting comparison. Actually, Spiderhead.
Also
but,
Starship
But I
Troopers.
think for what turned out to be our first episode, I was like, let's do something more fun. But like, yeah, maybe we can.
I don't want to watch that movie. You turned me off to it. But I'm just saying we're kind of stacking the cards
Yeah.
for the movies.
Like a good movie.
That's fair.
I like how I've decided that this is something that we all do together.
We all do it together. Hey.
Yeah, we should pick. We should pick some more challenging adaptations.
Speaking of
maybe.
Starship Troopers,
we could do
though,
Naked Lunch too.
Did I ever tell you about the time that Casper Van Dien came into the store and asked for a copy of Starship Troopers?
Yes,
That was awesome.
Tell me
It
about
was really cool. I was like, yeah, you're in it. I know.
Rico.
Go. Yeah.
And he's like, all right.
all right.
Well, clearly we're in a great place. Buzzy, do you have anything to plug?
I can still plug my same book,
Yeah.
which is called Baby Got Facts. Totally 90s trivia.
I'm certain we still have at least one signed copy still in the store. So,
I love to hear that.
yeah.
And yeah, there's at least 2 questions I looked about Total Recall. They're not super deep questions, but it's sort of in a larger identify. I have a identify the Arnold movie based on the bad guy. So
That's kind of fun.
having listened to this, you will know at least one.
Nice. Also,
And it's his wife.
You were one of the writers on Pop Culture
That's
Jeopardy,
true, yes.
which is currently on
Yes.
Amazon Prime.
I wrote for this first season of Pop Culture Jeopardy, and we are WGA. I'm a WGA nominated
Hell yeah.
writer now,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And we are in the category of like quiz and game show. There's one other show nominated. Original Recipe Jeopardy. So there's like 2 people that write for the regular show that didn't write for Pop Culture, and there's I think 4 of us that came in to write for Pop Culture that don't write for the regular show. But there's like a bunch of people that are guaranteed a WGA award,
That's
and then
pretty
like
cool.
6 people that are kind of like,
Fuck.
it's gonna get awkward. Hope those bastards at Jeopardy don't win. But us good people at Pop Culture Jeopardy.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch Pop Culture Jeopardy. If you're listening to this podcast, you might like Pop Culture Jeopardy.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Next month, I believe we are going to attempt to do Hellraiser. Bring back Garen Cockrell to discuss Clive Barker again. So please come back for that, and try to have a great New Year. It's already quite tough, but please do it, please.
It's in order.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Skylight Books podcast series. We hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to check out the book featured in this episode, or others, please visit skylightbooks.com. If you're in the Los Angeles area, stop by for one of our live in-person author events. You can find a calendar on our website. If you like this podcast, leave us a review. It really helps us out. Our music is by Duck the Piano Wire. Till next time.
Hello, listeners. Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Skylight Podcast.
Sorry, I shouldn't have liked it. Sorry, I liked it more than I should have. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Sorry. I just didn't want Buzzy to think I liked that. I had to make it clear to you that I didn't like it that much.
Too
But
late.
I did, though. I kind of did, but it was bad. I shouldn't have liked it. Anyway, sorry, we'll move on.
I just did it before you could, that's all.
I know.
If you're trying to impress me,
I know.
things have gotten bad.
All right. Just tag this all in at the end, Justin.
Yeah, of course. I mean, duh.